We all know the smile, that wide beaming grin that belongs to the king of waltz. You see Andre Rieu standing in front of thousands of people conducting his Johann Strauss orchestra, and he looks like the happiest man on earth. He looks like a man who has everything: the castle, the gold, the millions of fans screaming his name. But what if I told you that smile is a mask? What if I told you that for 30 years, Andre Rieu has been hiding a dark secret that almost destroyed him? While he was making you dance, he was drowning in debt so big it would make your head spin. While he was playing happy music, he was fighting a childhood trauma that never went away. And recently, things got even scarier. He collapsed in Mexico. Rumors started flying that he was saying goodbye forever. The internet said he was gone. But the truth is even more dramatic. Today, we are going to peel back the curtain on the double life of Andre Rieu. We are going to look at the secret bankruptcy, the hidden wife who actually runs the show, and the terrifying illness that is threatening to silence the violin forever. This is the story Andre Rieu did not want you to know. To understand the double life we have, to go back to a moment that should have been his greatest triumph but turned into a living nightmare. The year was 2008. Andre Rieu was on top of the world. He was selling more tickets than Beyoncé. He was bigger than Springsteen. But inside, he was panic-stricken. He had a dream to bring the magic of Vienna to the whole world. He did not just want to play music. He wanted to build a world. He decided to build a full-size replica of the Schönbrunn Palace. This was not a cardboard backdrop. This was a massive steel and gold structure. It was the biggest touring stage ever built. It had ballrooms. It had ice rinks for skaters. It had fountains with real water. It even had golden carriages. It was supposed to be the ultimate romantic experience, but it became a financial death trap. The problems started immediately. The first castle they built did not meet fire safety standards. Imagine that. You spend millions to build a palace, and the inspectors say no. He had to scrap it, but he did not stop. He built another one. Then he realized something terrible. The castle was so big that they could not take it down and set it up fast enough for the tour dates. If they played in one city on Tuesday, they could not get the castle to the next city by Thursday. Most people would quit. Andre Rieu did something crazy. He ordered a third castle. Now he had 3 massive palaces traveling around the world on ships and trucks. The cost was astronomical. He was bleeding money every single day. He later revealed that he was 34 million euros in debt. That is over $40 million. He was standing on stage every night smiling at the audience. He was playing the Blue Danube Waltz. He was making jokes. But in his head, he was doing math. He was calculating if he could pay his musicians next week. He was living a complete lie. The man on stage was a billionaire king. The man off stage was broke. It all came down to one meeting with the bank. He went to Rabobank. He sat across from the manager. He had no money left. His house was leveraged. His studio was leveraged. His violin was at risk. The bank could have pulled the plug right there. They could have taken everything. They could have seized the costumes and the instruments. The Johann Strauss Orchestra would have ceased to exist that afternoon. But the bank manager looked at the numbers. He looked at the debt, and he looked at Andre. He told him something that saved his life. He said, "Mr. Rieu, you have a lot of debt, but you are the only one who can pay it back. If we shut you down, we get nothing. If we let you play, maybe we get our money." They let him keep touring. Andre Rieu walked out of that bank with his empire still alive, but he was working for the bank now. For years, every ticket sold went to pay off that hole. He performed like a man possessed because he had to. He was dancing on the edge of a cliff, and no one in the audience had a clue. Where does this drive come from? Why would a man risk everything for a dream? To find the answer, we have to look at the other side of his double life. The side that goes back to a cold house in Maastricht in the 1950s. Andre Rieu is famous for warmth. He hugs his fans. He cries on stage. He makes everyone feel loved. That is because he knows what it feels like to be unloved. He grew up in a house that was full of music, but empty of affection. His father was a conductor too. He was the conductor of the Maastricht Symphony Orchestra. He was a serious man, a severe man. Andre has been very open about this recently. He said his parents were very strict. He said they did not love him very much. Imagine hearing that from a man who brings joy to millions. He felt like the black sheep of the family. He was the third of 6 children. He felt invisible. He watched his father conduct the orchestra, and he was fascinated by the bows moving up and down together. But he did not feel a connection to the father holding the baton. He started playing violin at age 5, but it was not just about the music. It was about finding love. His first teacher was a young blonde woman. She was 18. Andre fell in love with her. He loved her vibrato. He loved the way she looked at him when he played well. He learned a lesson that would shape his entire life. If I play beautifully, people will love me. This is the engine of his double life. The little boy who felt ignored by his mother and father is still inside him. Every time he steps on stage and hears the applause, he is fixing that hole in his heart. He needs the audience as much as they need him. He is not just performing. He is asking for the love he did not get as a child. He hated the atmosphere of his father's world. The classical music world was stuffy. It was elitist. You had to sit still. You could not smile. Andre hated it. He wanted to make people happy. He started playing waltzes in nursing homes. He saw the old people come alive. He saw them dancing in their wheelchairs. That was the moment he chose his path. He would rebel against his father. He would rebel against the serious music world. He would become the king of waltz. But Andre Rieu is not doing this alone. There is another secret to his success, a secret person. If you think Andre runs the business, you are wrong. The real power behind the throne is his wife, Marjorie. They have been married for 50 years, but you almost never see her. She does not do red carpets. She does not do interviews. She refuses to be photographed. She lives a double life of her own. To the public, she is a ghost. To the company, she is the boss. Marjorie is the one who writes the scripts. She is the one who critiques the show. She tells him what works and what does not. Andre calls her his biggest critic and his biggest supporter. When he was young and struggling, it was Marjorie who told him not to quit. She told him to look at the sun, and the shadows would fall behind him. They have a pact. He stands in the spotlight. She stays in the shadows. It allows them to have a somewhat normal life, but make no mistake, the Andre Rieu empire is a 2-person operation, and now it is a 3-person operation. His son Pierre has taken over the business side. Pierre is the vice president. He runs the logistics. He manages the trucks and the lights and the hundreds of employees. Pierre is the realist. Andre is the dreamer. Andre wants to spend millions on a castle. Pierre has to figure out how to pay for it. Recently, there was a very emotional moment between father and son. Pierre went through a huge transformation. He lost a lot of weight. He got healthy. When Andre saw him, he burst into tears. It showed just how deep the bond is. They are a tight unit. They protect each other, and they protect the business from the outside world. But all the protection in the world cannot stop time. Andre Rieu is 75 years old, and recently, his body has started to send him warning signals that he cannot ignore. In March 2024, something terrifying happened. Andre was on tour in Mexico City. The fans were ready. The tickets were sold out. But Mexico City is high up. It is more than 2,000 meters above sea level. The air is thin. It is hard to breathe, even for young people. For a man in his 70s who jumps around on stage, it is dangerous. Andre pushed himself too hard. He did 2 concerts, but then his body shut down. He got an acute flu. He had a fever, but it was more than that. He collapsed. He had to cancel the rest of the tour. 4 sold-out shows were just gone. Backstage, he looked small. He looked frail. He told reporters that it was very tough this time. He admitted he is getting a day older. He even said it might be his last tour in Mexico. That is a huge admission for a man who plans to live to be 140. It was the first crack in the armor. The invincible King of Waltz was human after all. He flew home to recover. But the trouble was not over. Later in the year, a new problem attacked him. This one was even scarier for a musician. It was a viral infection of the vestibular nerve. This is the nerve in your inner ear that controls your balance. When it gets infected, the world spins. You get vertigo. You cannot stand up without falling over. Imagine being a conductor. You have to stand for 3 hours. You have to turn to the violins. You have to turn to the crowd. You have to spin and dance. You cannot do that if the room is spinning. The infection forced him to postpone huge tours. He had to cancel dates in the UK and Ireland. He had to move shows in Australia. He released a statement saying he was heartbroken. He hates canceling. He knows people travel from all over the world to see him. He knows hotels and restaurants depend on him, but he had no choice. He was stuck in his house. He could not play. He could not travel. For a man who has spent his whole life on the road, this is torture. It brings back the bad memories of the lockdowns when he almost lost everything again. And then the vultures started circling. Because he was quiet and because he cancelled shows, the internet decided he was dead. Suddenly, YouTube and Facebook were full of videos with terrible titles. They said, Andre Rieu says goodbye. They said tragic diagnosis. They said his family is crying over his fortune. These videos used robot voices and fake photos. They were lies, pure lies designed to scare his fans. My heart breaks for the older fans who saw these videos and thought their hero was gone. The truth is, Andre Rieu is alive. He is fighting. He appeared on television in Brazil recently to show everyone he is still standing. He looked thinner, but he was smiling. He is determined to get back on stage. He is not ready to give up the violin yet, but the rumors show how fragile his situation is. One cancellation, and the world assumes the worst. So where does he hide when the world gets too loud? He goes to his sanctuary. He really does live in a castle. It is called De Torrentius. It is in his hometown of Maastricht. It is a real fairy tale castle with a moat and towers, but it has a history that fits the drama of his life. Legend says that the real D'Artagnan from the Three Musketeers ate his last breakfast in that kitchen before he died in battle. Andre loves that story. He loves the romance of it. He bought the castle when it was split into pieces, and he put it back together. He designed the kitchen himself. He loves to cook there. His favorite comfort food is cheese fondue. It is a simple pleasure for a complicated man. He also has a greenhouse in the garden. This is where he goes to escape the noise. He raises butterflies. He grows exotic plants. It is quiet there. There is no applause. No bank manager is asking for money. There is just nature. This is essential for his mental health. He lives such a high-energy life that he needs absolute silence to recharge. He has a strict routine to keep himself going. He takes a nap before every single concert. It does not matter where he is. He sleeps. It is his reset button. He wakes up fresh and ready to be the king again. He also brings his own chefs on tour. He cannot risk getting sick from bad food. He controls every detail of his life because he knows that one slip up could bring the whole machine crashing down. And we have to talk about the violin. It is not just an instrument. It is his partner. It is a Stradivarius made in 1732. It is worth millions of euros. It is one of the most valuable instruments on the planet. During the pandemic, when he could not tour, he was burning through cash. He has 120 employees on his payroll. He pays them even when they do not play. He calls them his family. He refused to fire them, but the money was running out. He faced a terrible choice. He told the press he was considering selling the Stradivarius. Can you imagine that? Selling the thing you love most to save the people you love. He said he could always get another violin, but he could never replace his orchestra. Luckily, the government stepped in with support, and he did not have to sell it. But it shows how close he came to the edge. He was ready to sacrifice his most prized possession. That is the double life. The man holding $1 million violin, who is worried about paying the electric bill. The pressure on him is not just about him, it is about his whole city. Andre Rieu is a one-man economy. Every summer, he plays concerts in the square, in Maastricht. Hotels sell out, restaurants sell out. Taxi drivers make their year's salary in 2 weeks. They call it the Rieu economy. If he stops, the city loses millions. That is a heavy weight to carry on your shoulders. He is responsible for his family, his orchestra, and his town. No wonder he pushes himself to the breaking point. His son, Mark, is the only one who stayed out of the madness. Mark is a painter. He paints landscapes. He stays away from the cameras. He captures harmony on canvas, while his father tries to create harmony on stage. It is a nice balance. One son runs the business, one son makes art, and the father tries to keep it all spinning. There is another dark side to his fame. Scammers. Because his fans are often older people, the scammers target them. There are people pretending to be Andre Rieu online. They pretend to be his son. They ask for money. They tell sad stories. Andre hates this. He has to constantly warn his fans. He has to tell them that he will never ask them for money. It makes him angry that people use his face to steal. It is another battle he has to fight behind the scenes while keeping that smile on his face. So what happens now? Andre Rieu has rescheduled his tours. He says he is recovering. He is planning to go back to the UK and Australia. He is planning his next Christmas concerts. He is not stopping, but the warning signs are there. The collapse in Mexico, the vertigo, the age. The double life is getting harder to maintain. The mask is slipping a little bit. We can see the struggle now. We can see the effort it takes to be the king of waltz. He says he wants to play until he drops. He says music keeps him young, and maybe it does. When he is on stage, he does not look 75. He looks ageless. He looks like that little boy who fell in love with the blonde teacher and just wanted someone to clap for him. Andre Rieu is more than just a musician. He is a survivor. He survived a childhood without love. He survived a bankruptcy that should have finished him. He is surviving a body that is telling him to slow down. He lived a double life to protect his dream. He took the pain and turned it into joy for us. He took the debt and turned it into a spectacle. He took the fear and turned it into a waltz. Next time you see him on TV or on YouTube, look closely at that smile. It is a real smile, but it is a smile that was earned the hard way. It is a smile that covers up 30 years of fighting, and that makes the music even more beautiful.